letter for a Judyth Baker? Has a letter for a Judyth Baker arrived from Fort Walton Beach, Florida from a Robert A. Baker, my fiance? Nothing? So there's nothing for a Judyth Baker or a Mr. Rourke either? One stamp, please. Хорошо, товарищ.
Nie надо говорить по-русски, Винор Линдзи.
Но мне нравится говорить по-русски.
Пожалуйста, подождите. Is there a letter for a Lee H. Oswald? Vina verno na vista toskia sham tolka hebia devai provusta de moi? You must be new in town. I just got into town myself. Can I walk you home? I was born here in New Orleans and lived here as a child, but I've been away for nearly 10 years.
Where did you learn to speak Russian so well?
Oh, I lived in Russia for a little while.
I'm interested in everything about Russia, the Russian literature and Russian music like Rimsky-Korsakov. Russia is on the top of my list of countries I wish to visit. In fact, my family calls me Judovsky.
Well, it's Russian classical culture that interests me most. The great writers, Alexander Pushkin, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Have you read The Idiot?
That is one of my favorites. I even wrote a poem about Prince Mishkin. To interfere with the internal dialogue of another person
will disrupt the habitual flow of their self-centered thoughts and actions.
So, what does the H in your name stand for?
Henry, Hogan, Herkimer, Horace, Hector. Yes.
Hoover.
That'd be even worse. My middle name's Harvey. I don't particularly like it. My Russian friends call me Alec because Lee sounded weird to them, and then half the time when I wrote Harvey, people misread it as Henry. So I started using H instead. Now I figure it will save me many hours during my lifetime by avoiding having to write and use the name Harvey.
I see you are a Marine as well as married.
You're so observant.
I'm good at noticing odd little things other people don't.
Well, I noticed you look a lot like my wife. Are you married?
Almost. In a few days, if he actually comes to town and if I still want to marry him. He didn't even write me a letter. I love Robert Baker, but if he doesn't show, I'll survive.
Love unto the death.
I know. Well, at least it'll give me more time for my cancer research. I want to find a cure for cancer. The world-renowned Dr. Alton Ochsner heard about my lab experiments when I was in high school, and he offered me a scholarship to work with Dr. Mary Sherman. She runs a cancer laboratory at his hospital.
Dr. Mary Sherman, my friend Dr. Ferry was just talking about her last night.
She's famous and all, but what are the odds you all know each other too?
So, why is a cancer researcher like yourself working a waitressing job in a diner?
Well, I'm in a bit of a predicament. My research work doesn't start for a few more weeks, and I need a job to get by until then.
My predicament concerns my wife. She's in Texas right now because, unfortunately, we're not getting along very well. Do you play chess?
Yes, I do, and I consider myself quite good at it.
I have never met an American girl who plays chess, writes poetry, loves Russian literature, and has even learned to speak some Russian. You know, I'd like to play you chess sometime, and my friend Dr. Ferry has a chess set we could use, and he's having a party at his house tomorrow night, and he's involved in cancer research himself, and perhaps you two should meet, but, how can it be we just met?
Here I am, all alone, in a world full of people.
There I am, by myself, I forgot to forget.
Here we are, just this once, in a world without windows. And how can it be we just met?
How are you?
I am well.
Glad to meet your acquaintance.
I'm confused.
I can tell.
Let's not live in regret. All I want is a friend who may sometimes need maintenance. And how can it be we just met?
I'll blame blame the commies.
And I'll blame the Reds.
I'll bring the scissors.
And I'll bring the thread.
Picture a puzzle in pieces instead that I don't know how to forget.
I'll make decisions.
And I'll make mistakes
I'll make incisions
that I'll undertake. You've got a lucky side, a lucky break. And how can it be we just met?
Where to go, I don't know, in this town of New Orleans.
Follow me, I can see where the sun never sets. To the back of the bus, we can see who's informant. And I don't know how to forget.
I'll bring the basket.
And I'll bring the bread.
I'll make the sandwiches.
I'll make the bed. I'm better off, but not better off dead. And how can it be we just met? And I don't know how to forget. And how can it be we just met?
Well, I just filled out my application papers for my summer internship at Dr. Ochsner's clinic.
Dr. Alton Ochsner, the world-famous surgeon of the South. Dr. Ferry knows him well.
Well, I can't take much more of this waitressing job at Royal Castle, even though I need the money to rent a room for Robert and me.
I'm looking for a temporary job myself. Maybe I could find a better job for you too, at least until our real jobs come into play. So, tell me about your family.
Well, my grandmother on my mother's side is from Hungary, and Hungarian is a very difficult language to speak.
Yes, the Hungarian Revolution of 1956, when the Soviet tanks rolled in to crush the Hungarian freedom fighters.
And my father was a successful electrical engineer. He invented some of the parts used in television sets, and he was part owner of a local TV station. He owned stores that sold and repaired televisions. And then, when I was 11, he went to work at the Chrysler plant in Warren, Michigan, where Chrysler produced the Redstone rocket for NASA. So Chrysler makes more than just automobiles, I learned. The Redstone rocket has a range of 500 miles and was the first U.S. ballistic missile to carry a nuclear warhead.
Yeah, that is correct.
Tell me about your family. That's only fair.
Well, my father died 2 months before I was born, and when the insurance money ran out, I was sent to stay with my Aunt Lil and Uncle Dutz Moret. Now, Uncle Dutz was a boxer and a union enforcer down in the docks, and he moved up in Carlos Marcello's ranks. Now he mostly handles Marcello's money, mostly from various gambling operations.
Everywhere I go, I hear that name, Carlos Marcello, Carlos Marcello.
I had to make a choice early on, whether I was going to be one of Marcello's soldiers or be another kind of soldier. So I decided to join the Marine Corps like my brother. Either the world can be an influence on you, or you can be an influence on the world. I chose to stay out of Marcello's world.
You know, another thing I'm hearing wherever I go is talk against Fidel Castro. There's as much anti-Castro sentiment here as there is back home in Florida, maybe more.
What have you heard about Castro?
Well, my high school friend Tony told me everything. His family lived in Cuba for many generations, and his father was a respected banker, and when Castro took over, their whole family got uprooted, and some of Tony's friends resisted Castro's takeover and were captured by soldiers, and Tony told me his friends were tortured. Fidel Castro is a fanatical communist. What do you know about Cuba?
I know a little bit.
I wonder if he knows as much about Cuba as I do.
Let's just put it this way. Starting west to east, Cuba's major areas include Pinar del Rio, Mariel, Havana, Matanzas, Santa Clara, Cienfuegos, Navuetos, Camagüey, Bayamo, Santiago de Cuba, and Guantanamo.
There's a U.S. naval base in Guantanamo.
I have heard about that one. To continue, Cuba is surrounded by the Gulf of Mexico, the Yucatan Channel, the Caribbean Sea, and the North Atlantic Ocean. The Rio Cuarto is the longest river in Cuba, the length of 370 kilometers.
Stop. How in the world do you know all this?
I was ordered to memorize it. Since I returned from Russia, I've been spending a lot of time studying Cuban maps, mostly on Saturdays. I do need to work on my Spanish, though.
Hey!
Dr. Ferry, I'd like you to meet Miss Judy Ferry.
Very, that very much rhymes. My boy Lee here tells me that you've had some medical training.
Yes, very much so. I have discovered the fastest method of accelerating cancer growth in laboratory mice, and I've been working with monkey viruses and radiation to compare the growth rates of human melanoma infected with SV40 to determine what would make these fast-growing cancers even more deadly. You see, Dr. Ferry, I want to find a cure for cancer by understanding how it works.
Well, Chickadee, it sounds like you know your way around a medical lab, but do you know organic chemistry?
I know it with my eyes closed, Dr. Ferry.
Kaboom! Well, I can use an assistant to help keep my lab going, and I can give you some money.
And where's your lab?
It's over there in the kitchen. And the mouse tumors are in the refrigerator. But seriously, I can get you the most exotic chemicals around, whatever equipment, supplies you might need, I'll be happy to order. Here, take a look at this catalog. And then once you find out what we're up to, you just circle anything you want, and I'll be happy to order it. I've got a lot of contacts. Excuse me, my party's just heating up.
Does Dr. Ferry really need an assistant?
Very much so. Dave's going to be very busy soon, traveling not only for us, but also for Marcello.
He seems a little eccentric, and maybe I can help, but won't I be working in Dr. Mary Sherman's bone lab at Auctioneer's Clinic?
Maybe you're supposed to be working in both places.
Here's some more catalogs. Let me know what you think. I've got to let you know that the work Dr. Mary and I are doing here is strictly confidential. We're doing some work using drugs that are not available in the United States. We have them brought up from Mexico, if you know what I mean. So you shouldn't talk to anybody about the work that we do at Dr. Auctioneer's or anywhere else. I promised I would be careful with the information. We're using various chemicals in combination with radiation. We're mutating monkey viruses, and we're getting results fast.
That is exactly what I've been trained to handle.
And that's what I heard.
And Dr. Oster is overseeing every angle of this project, so rest assured.
Dr. Oster knows how to get things done. He's got connections in Latin America. Well, Dr. Mary is going to be over in a little bit. She's going to pick up some of those mouse tumors. Why don't you guys play some chess? And I've got to go talk to a couple of my boys.
His boys? These are some unusual people here.
Well, Dave has to cultivate a variety of contacts. You can't have an information network in New Orleans without running into some of these characters.
My fiance hasn't written to me in days. This hardly feels like an engagement.
I understand. In order to stay in the Soviet Union, I needed to marry a Russian girl. And Marina wanted to marry an American man, so she'd come to America. Now she's pregnant again with a baby who'll be born in America, so she won't get deported. It was a marriage of convenience. But, Marina was unfaithful. And I didn't treat her very well. She'd criticized me in her matchless ways with insults so cruel, I will not repeat them here. Marina has the tongue of a snake. Mere English cannot crush a soul or destroy one's self-image the way that Russian words can.
I've heard how harsh Russian words can be.
I lost my temper, and I hit her perhaps a dozen times, the truth be known.
Did you just say you hit her?
We're really estranged.
I don't want to hear another word. You disgust me.
I thought I was past caring about people anymore, but the birth of my daughter June changed all that. I just hope someday my children know the truth about me. Are you really going through with your marriage? I want so much to hold you in my arms.
We've known each other for less than 3 days, and you just told me you beat your wife.
Don't marry that man. If he loved you, he would have called. He would have written you every day just to stop your heart from aching. Please, think. Take more time. If he treats you this way now, how's he going to treat you after you're married? I'm falling in love with you, Judyth. I'm going to divorce Marina anyway. Everybody knows that.
Just because of you, I might not have married Robert Baker, but then you wouldn't have told me you beat your wife.
Well, I had to tell you. It would have been wrong for me to not tell you and not keep it from you.
You need to be responsible for your daughter, and your next baby is on the way, and now I'm afraid of you. You could hurt me. My own father did it when he drank, and I wish I could believe you could change.
Well, then you'll see. As time goes on, so will my proof, for as long as it takes.
What proof are you planning?
This is my promise to you. I swear I will never lay another hand on Marina again, and I will do this to show how much your affection means to me.
You know, you don't give yourself much time before falling in love. How long did you know Marina before you fell in love with her?
Mere days. We married after knowing each other for only 6 weeks.
See? Your love is good for 6 weeks or 6 months.
Whichever comes first. There were other circumstances involved. I cannot tell you more. I'm sorry. I was a fool.
I've never been attracted to anyone as I am to you, Lee Oswald.
It's the same for me.
Kiss me and then go away.
You know, I won't be able to kiss you after you're married.
Hey, you two buckaroos, I don't want to interrupt whatever the hell's going on here, but Dr. Mary Sherman is here. I want very much to introduce you to her.
Finally, I'm so excited to meet her.
That son of a bitch Fidel Castro, that goddamn communist, he's costing my family a lot of money. He's no good for Cuba, and we gotta get rid of him.
Yo sé. Estamos trabajando en ello. We're working on it.
He's a communist dictator, and he's gonna get what's coming to him.
Here, come with me. Dr. Mary, this is Miss Judyth Baker. She's very anxious to meet you since we're going to be working together. Mary, very and fairy. Get it?
I'm sorry, but I can't speak to her now.
Dr. Sherman, has Dr. Ochsner spoken to you about me?
I'm sorry, I can't speak to you now. Please excuse me.
Viva la revolución and viva Cuba!
Is she upset with me about something?
Let it go. She must have her reasons. There's players from both sides here tonight. Hold on a second. That son of a bitch Kennedy better keep being careless and riding around in open cars so his head can get shot off. That bastard abandoned our boys at the Bay of Pigs. Now it's time to even the score.
What was that all about?
Quiet, J.F.K. He'll explain everything later.
What have I gotten myself into here? Why did I even come to New Orleans? Dr. Sherman won't talk to me. These lunatics are going off about killing the president, and my fiance won't write me, and I'm falling in love with the guy I just met who beats his wife. Yeah, I'm having a real good time.
First, when you said, pardon me, I beg of your pardon, mister.
Pardon me, pardon me, pardon me.
Then, when you said, come with me, you know that I did persist.
Pardon me, yes sirree, pardon me.
All of this time, dealing with magic, playing with fire. You know that I want to once In a while, here we are, having a real good time. Where did you go? You're one in a billion. Who did you know? I'm just a civilian. What in the world's going on? We're having a real good time. Here's a surprise, I don't know the proper position problem.
Here we are, I don't know where we are.
In a disguise, there you are, with documentation solvent.
Where are we? I don't know where we are.
Where are you now? Away without leave, fair, playing how? A trick up my sleeve and I led 3 lives. And I know we're having a real good time. And I know we're having a real good time. And I know we're having a real good time.
If we can develop this biological cancer-inducing weapon to kill Castro within the next few months, then the entire Cuban community will be focused on regaining Cuba and abandon their crazy dreams of revenge on Kennedy for the Bay of Pigs.
What if Castro finds out about this project and decides to have us all killed? Who's gonna protect us?
Darling, this isn't the movies. Castro can't kill everybody. Besides, our boy Lee here is part of our protection.
I'm working to root out anybody who's pro-Castro in this town. It's one of my jobs. We're going to stage incidents and hand out pro-Castro flyers and make sure photos will be taken by the media. That way, I can get into Cuba with the bioweapon once it's developed and convince everyone I'm pro-Castro.
As for the rest of it, just keep your mouth shut. We have a whole truckload full of microscopes, lab equipment, cages, chemicals, cancer cell strains, and pedigree mice. We have a loop of laboratories, and with each lap around the loop, the cancer cell strains get more aggressive and more deadly. Dr. Mary Sherman's going to be here shortly. She can tell you everything you need to know, but I'll be busy for a while. Marcelo needs me to help out his legal team to fight Bobby Kennedy, to help out with Carlos's deportation trial.
Have you told your husband about any of this?
Well, Robert isn't my husband yet. We're supposed to get married tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Maybe you could come to City Hall with us. We need a witness, you know.
I don't want to be there when you make your mistake.
Oh, Lee.
Look, you will be getting a job with me at Riley Coffee Company, and that will help disguise the work that we're actually doing on this project.
But I haven't even agreed to work on this project.
Judy, it's so nice to see you.
Dr. Sherman, hello.
Please, call me Dr. Mary. As you know, we've been working for some time on a project. We may have hit upon a viable means to eliminate Fidel Castro by what will appear to be wholly natural causes.
That's right. No more poison pills, bazookas, or exploding cigars. The beard is onto all that. We all work together to get him, all of us, the anti-Castro people, the CIA, the Cosa Nostra. But Castro defied the odds. Do you understand? We became a machine ready to kill troublemakers out to threaten American interests anywhere in the world. It was supposed to be able to wipe out Fidel. But Kennedy's soft on communism. He refuses to go to war. His little baby brother goes after the mob. He plans to retire Hoover and then drop Johnson from the ticket next year and tax big oil.
He has a lot of enemies.
If we don't get Castro first, these same people will execute J.F.K. just to remind future presidents so they know who really controls this country. Those who remain on top will gain everything they ever hoped for and look the other way. But if Castro dies first, we think Kennedy's life might be spared.
Where? How did you get this information?
Judy, you're so very young, but you have to trust us. just as we have to trust you.
The clock is ticking.
And we believe we have something, but we want to see what you make of it. You induced lung cancer in mice faster than had ever been done before, and in a miserable high school lab at that. And we know you are a patriot. That's why you are here.
This is lung cancer you're talking about. Your specialty.
We have only until October.
Maybe the end of October.
You can still choose not to participate.
All I came here for was to have an internship with you, Dr. Sherman, and I still want to go to Tulane Medical School in the fall.
Don't worry. Dr. Ochsner will sponsor you. That's set in stone. Take all the time you want to decide.
You got onto the wrong side of this project by accident. It was a matter of bad communication and bad timing. Ochsner always intended to have you involved, but it was supposed to be unwitting.
I wish it was unwitting. I need to think about this for a while.
Take your time, Judy. But before you decide yes or no, I want you to inspect these first.
I've never seen anything like this. The growth rate of these cancer cells is phenomenal. Such a fast and furious rate of division. These cancer cells are monsters.
They are, aren't they?
I need to see logbooks and reports, whatever statistics you have, and somebody bring me a notepad.
I'll get them.
I assume you have electron microscope studies on these cells, right? Do you have photos?
Yes, we have them. Originally, these cells came from viruses that came from monkeys. They've been enhanced with radiation, and the viruses we are most concerned with is the SV40.
The infamous simian 40 monkey virus, that crazy carcinogenic virus, contaminated the polio vaccines in the 1950s. It even killed Dr. Ochsner's own grandson and crippled his granddaughter, and the damn contaminants are still present in millions of doses of the vaccine, which will surely cause an epidemic of cancer in the future.
Cross-infection between the species is common in the monkey lab, so we may be dealing with a collection of viruses traveling with the SV40. It could be the SV37 or SIV.
It doesn't really matter to us. What matters for our project is that we can produce cancer quickly. We need to find the most aggressive cancers that produce the fastest growing tumors.
Yes, unfortunately, our problem is that these cancers, they're not transferring successfully back to the primates. And if they don't work in the primates,
then they won't work on Fidel Castro. Our new cancers are getting dangerous to handle.
Someone with specialized training needs to take over Dave's lab for everyone's safety.
That's where you come in.
But what's Lee's role in all this?
Oh, these efforts are also important.
Lee's working in the thick of the anti-Castro community to determine which medical contacts can be trusted in Cuba and then be able to deliver the bioweapon to friendly doctors there.
Lee will need to learn how to keep the cell tissues alive from transport of the bioweapon to Mexico City and then onto Cuba.
One thing you gotta know is this: nothing, and I mean nothing, about the project, its participants, its materials, its methods, is to be written down. Nothing.
You will have to teach Lee the medical terminologies and techniques and teach him all the technical information in order to use the weapon.
Well, Lee has a good memory. I've been witness to that. We're falling in love and we're both married.
Well, who do you love more? Your husband or Lee?
I think I already said too much.
Well, whatever you do, don't stay with a man simply because you feel obligated to do so. Getting married was the worst mistake this doctor ever made. It ruined my life. I hope it doesn't ruin yours.
She speaks from experience, Jay. Marrying Robert Baker was probably the stupidest mistake you ever made.
That's easy for you to give me advice now after the fact, but where were you when I had nowhere to go in this strange city? And Robert came and married me, and Dr. Sherman, you walked away from me when I tried to talk to you at the party, and that hurt.
I'm sorry, Judy. I should have called you immediately. I meant to reach out as soon as I could.
Guy Bannister sent his looky-loo, jackass Martin, to the party to try to get some dirt that night.
And I didn't want anyone to think that we were working together.
Rumors fly fast in this town.
Well, I'll just have to divorce him then.
Don't divorce Robert just yet. There are advantages to having the name Baker.
The name Very is very rare. People could look you up and see all the headlines that you made in high school with the work that you did. They might find out who you are and what you're doing here.
You're protected by that name. Hey, Ferry, Very, and Mary, let's get to work on this cancer.
Dr. Auctioner will be pleased to see how our work is coming along.
The man gets sick, and Fidel dies this year.
Won't you come in, Miss Very? Won't you sit down? Have you caught up with the literature?
Yes, sir.
We're having reports flown in from both coasts before they're published. Every new strain of lymphoma could be in our hands within days. More breeder mice are being ordered from different sources to avoid suspicion. If you need anything, you let me know. How do you feel about Fidel Castro?
Castro is a dreadful communist dictator whose behavior is criminal, and he should be removed from power by force if necessary.
Good girl. Consider your tuition to medical school paid for and all expenses covered. You will skip 2 years of school and go directly to medical school, should you still desire to go this upcoming spring.
I promise heaven and earth in return for that, sir.
Judy, as a surgeon, I know that sometimes in an emergency, we need to do things quickly or the patient will die. We need to use our influence to spread the warning of the creeping sickness of communism faster to Latin Americans and our own people, or the rest of Central and South America will be exposed to the same sickness of communism as Cuba.
Yes, sir. And I'll be working with Dr. Sherman.
You'll continue to see her every week, and she'll teach you the procedures that you need to know by September. And you'll also be working in Dr. Ferry's lab several days a week. But You can help us if you accept an assignment at Riley's Coffee Company.
How will my talents be useful at a coffee company?
Mr. Moynihan, the former FBI agent, he'll be your supervisor at Riley's. He needs to have somebody there every morning to cover for Mr. Oswald's absences. Mr. Oswald will also be working for us by transporting chemicals, equipment, specimens to several locations. And he will also be involved in another aspect of the project slated for later in the year.
I see.
I want you to know that Mr. Oswald will be there to help you and that you will both have additional duties unrelated to your jobs at Riley's.
Dr. Ochsner, you're not really giving me a choice in any of this.
Damn it, Judy. You have managed to somehow get yourself into some trouble by nosing yourself into the wrong side of this project. But I will overlook it because I was not there to direct your course.
I also got married.
Are you saying that you need birth control pills?
Yes.
As far as your husband knows, you are only a secretary at Riley's Coffee. Write nothing about cancer research on any of the forms that you fill out there.
To understand this project, I need the prior report.
They are destroyed immediately as soon as statistics are pulled for them. However, Dr. Sherman keeps a log. Talk to her about that. Here, take this to the hospital's pharmacy. That should be enough to last you through the rest of the year. Take vitamin C daily and an aspirin once every other day with those things. The high hormone dose in those pills can cause a blood clot, and I don't want to lose you due to a blood clot.
All right, Dr. Ochsner, I'll do that, but I still don't see why you want me working in Dave Ferry's lab. The setup at his lab has some problems. I could do more for the project in a real lab.
That is precisely why I want you to be in charge of Ferry's side of the project. You have experience working under primitive conditions. Also, you're an unconventional thinker and the fastest reader that I've ever seen. Now, I want your input. We need some ideas. We've reached an impasse, and I want your serendipity.
What's the problem?
Cross-species transfer. And there's another problem, too. We can inject a mouse with 1 million cancer cells. But within 10 minutes, the mouse has sifted all of the cells out of its circulatory system. Only when we inject a mouse with over 1 million cancer cells do we get cell survival. Now, if we were to inject a human with a dose of that same scale, he would have to take a pint of ejections. And nobody could get away with injecting Fidel Castro with a pint of anything. Well, that concludes our meeting. Good day, Miss Ferry.
Looks like the great man just gave you the famous Royal Ochsner treatment.
You can say that again. I think we all have a lot of work to do.
Ain't that the truth? Here, take my library card. Get all the books you need. Tulane University's medical library is stacked.
And I'm sure Dr. Ochsner will issue your own library card in the fall. But until then, you might as well just use Dave's library card.
There's no man in the United States with greater contacts with Latin American leaders or the CIA than Ochsner. He's the go-between, but he's naive as a kid about what he's got himself into. As for me, if anybody asks if I'm involved with anti-Castro matters anymore, the answer is always no. If anybody asks if I'm involved with the CIA, the answer is always no. Now, I still help out the FBI from time to time, and you're welcome to say that if my boys or anybody else asks. But I think you really want to tell them that I'm a party monster and a sex fiend and a pilot. Oh, and if anybody asks about those mice over there, they're always the same mice. Week in, week out for some nutty project of my own.
We know.
Understood.
Okay, now, I have to go fly to Toronto for something for Marcello. I'll see you chipmunks later.
What have we gotten ourselves into here?
All in a day's work, Judyth. You know, my time in Russia taught me how to survive in this world of operators, handlers, agents, double agents, spies, aliases, double aliases, microdots.
I just want to hug you,
dots,
Lena. Nothing
euphoniums.
personal.
But do you really love me, Judyth?
Yes.
Then I'm content.
What if I hadn't spoken Russian to you that day in the post office? What if we had never met?
I think we would have found each other, even if the very universe was folding itself away.
Does this mean you cannot truly confide in me about your clandestine adventures?
Well, if I can't tell you, then God himself is not allowed to know.
Okay, then what agency do you really work for and who's your most important handler?
You little spy. All right, here's the answer. I am on loan to the CIA, and I sometimes have to help out the FBI. But who my main handler is? Not only God knows the answer to that. Certainly I don't. But I call him Mr. B.
Do I have a handler?
Of course you do. It's me. You're a lucky woman. I shall be your protector, and I won't let any of them hurt you.
Why would anybody want to hurt me? I'm on the good side.
Well, if you're no longer useful, you could be thrown out, unless you were educated. Now, officially, you're safer than I am because you're an unwitting asset, and that's a pretty good position to be in. But in a heartbeat, you could become my very own Marina Oswald. I mean, once she's back in Russia, who's to say that you're not her?
You seem to know an awful lot about changing identities.
Well, I should. It happened to me. But I'm definitely me. But no one would believe it if they went through my records.
Who's this Alec J. Hydeal name you keep using on all your materials?
That's me. Hydeal backwards is Hyde Lee.
And Alec is what they called you in Russia.
You remember everything now, don't you? And the A and the J is code for Alton J. Ochsner. Exactly. Now, the benefit to all this is I can appear and disappear as easily as a shadow.
But you won't disappear on me, will you, Lee?
Judyth, my love, will you marry me? It's you I love and want. I want you to take my hand.
Lee, you are still my shining hero.
I only want to hear you say yes. Say you'll marry me as soon as we get Robert and Marina out of the picture.
Ask me again.
Well, since Baker never asked you to marry him, I'll ask you 100 times, if only you'll say yes just once. So, will you marry me?
Ask me again.
Please give me the inimitable pleasure of your hand in marriage. The time will come when I'll come to you without this wedding ring on. We'll get out of our other marriages with quickie divorces like the movie stars do down in Mexico.
I feel so overwhelmed.
Well, I'm not finished trying to overwhelm you yet. And besides, you still haven't said yes. So, will you marry me?
You still have 98 more times to go.
I think it's 97, but that's all right.
100,000 kisses, well that's quite a lot of love. Although it's hard to quantify, identify or solve. 100,000 oceans, across 100,000 seas, I believe. A million good intentions couldn't wash away my tears. 100,000 kisses last 100,000 years. 100,000 lifetimes, that's a lot to comprehend. In the end, all of this fateful time, eternal, all in the winking of an eye. Government's running me round this town. That's what they told me to say. 100,000 places in 100,000 days. 100,000 souvenirs, 100,000 different ways. A million different mentions for a million different myths. And what ifs? 100,000 reasons for 100,000 rhymes. 100,000 treasons for 100,000 different crimes. A million misdemeanors, well they'll throw away the book and not look. So many grains of sand is why so many stars up in the sky. When will this universe stop and collide? That's what they told me to say. 100,000 recipes, 100,000 most all of them correct in retrospect. 100 meditations on 100 different thoughts, a million new mutations for the 2000 and aughts. While one is just a number that is tricky to divide, I can try. I wake up in the morning with a cloudy sky above. 100,000 papers make 100,000 paper doves. 100,000 kisses, that's a pretty good amount. When you count, when you count, when you
count. Lovely night out tonight.
Thanks for walking me home. Robert's never here for me.
Well, I think it's important that you meet and get familiar with all these anti-Castro Cubans that Dr. Oshner wants us to know about. I mean, the Mafia and the CIA are working together, one hand washes the other. It's like two sides of the same...
Hand it over. I want your purse too, girlie. Hurry up, hurry up.
You don't want her purse. You don't want that.
Throw that damn wallet on the ground or I'll cut your face.
But not before I cut your balls!
You saved us! You're shaking.
It's a reaction. It's a reaction. Because I was afraid. It shall pass. You're not a coward if you feel afraid. Everyone feels afraid when confronted with danger. You're only a coward if you do not overcome that fear when necessary.
We need fetal calf serum right away. It looks like we did it! The cells isolated from the 2 lymphoma strains in the mice have produced dramatic results in the marmoset monkeys. They've suffered from not 1, but 2 variations of a galloping cancer.
Hot damn, we've broken the barrier between mouse and monkey.
Now we can move on to specific types of lung cancer, but we still have to keep those mouse tumors going in case of failure.
Exactly. Then we'll be set to move from marmoset monkeys
up the evolutionary scale toward African gray monkeys, and then to...
humans! The next and final step will be to test the bioweapon on a human volunteer. Dr. Oshner's got it all lined up. One brave patriot is prepared to pay the ultimate sacrifice for the common good. Our volunteer is already dying of cancer, and he knows his days are numbered. He's a prisoner at the Angola Penitentiary in Baton Rouge.
The test itself will be conducted at the East Louisiana State Mental Hospital in Jackson, Louisiana.
And thanks to you, me and my boy Lee are now trained to handle these deadly materials and prepare the bioweapon for safe transport to the mental hospital. August 29th will be our date with destiny. Clay Shaw is going to drive us there in a brand new shiny black Cadillac, so we'll be going in style.
I'm not sure this volunteer thinks he's going in style.
Oh, darling Judy, all proper measures have been taken. Rest assured that this brave prisoner wants to do this for America. He volunteered. And there will be trained medical and technical personnel on site to help conduct the experiments.
Hey, we made a cancer soup. We're going to be transporting it in a thermos and we're going to put it in a lunch sack. If this works, we'll use the same amazing setup for Lee to transfer the bioweapon from Mexico and then on to Cuba. No border inspector would ever dream that we're carrying a thermos full of cancer. Lunch is served, Fidel.
After the injection of our volunteer is complete, then Judy, you will need to go to the state hospital to take a simple blood test on the prisoner to determine between the cancer he already has and the cancer that we have given him.
Okay, I understand. So for my analysis, I need to know what kind of cancer the prisoner already has.
Well, don't worry about that. He doesn't actually have cancer. He's a Cuban he's about the same age and the same weight as Castro, and he's healthy. In order to save a human being, sometimes you have to take the life of another human being. Remember, this is not about killing Castro, it's about saving Kennedy.
Think about what's at stake, Judy.
And don't say a word about this to anyone, ever.
Lee, I know you know what's going on here. We're giving cancer to a healthy human with the intention of killing him. This is not medicine, this is murder.
I know. And it's the part of the project that's the hardest to accept.
It's wrong, morally wrong, legally, and wrong ethically. These maniacs have gone too far.
Well then, you have to ask yourself, what do you stand for?
I'm not gonna work with murderers. I withdraw the statement.
Look, we're stuck. But at this point, you have to weigh the life of Castro versus the life of Kennedy.
Not even Fidel Castro deserves to die like that. Now we're playing God.
I'm going to confide in you, and I'm going to trust you. And I've done that with no one. They are going to kill Kennedy in either Florida or Texas. And they will do this to remind future presidents of what happens to those who don't play their game. Dave was right. If Kennedy dies, a whole new form of government will take over. It will exist to make profits, mostly by waging wars that do not result in clear victories.
We can still vote and choose our leaders.
Well, if you're black, try voting in the South. And who you can vote for anyway if JFK dies? Barry Goldwater, George Wallace. Good God.
Wait, we're participating in premeditated murder. I'm not a murderer, and I'm not ready to become one. Not for Old Glory, not to get my medical school education paid for, and not for Dr. Auctioner. This is wrong and evil.
JFK is slow to wage war. That's a man worth taking risks for. What time is it? Someday I'll wear a watch and conform to Western society like everyone else, but until then, it is my last holdout against Western slavery. Well, I guess maybe I should go home and face Marina's music. Maybe I deserve those horrible names that she calls me.
I think Robert's coming. You better jump out the window.
Shh, are you serious?
To Dr. Auctioner, injecting disease-causing materials into an unwitting subject who does not have the disease is unethical and violates the Hippocratic Oath. Oh, you're not Dr. Auctioner's regular secretary. Dr. Auctioner's in surgery? All right, then yes, this is an urgent matter, and when Dr. Auctioner calls for his urgent messages, do let him know.
My urgent messages. What in the name of God made you decide to write a letter?
Sir, it wasn't a...
There was to be no paper trail! And if you think I'm upset about your piece of paper, if you talk about this to anybody, you are going to regret every damn word you ever said. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Yes.
If something bad happens to you, it won't be my fault. As for you and Mr. Oswald, you will need to be separated immediately, as you're both expendable to us. Oh, but we do still need you to go to Jackson and perform your unique cancer diagnosis blood test on the prisoner.
But...
This is not a request, this is an order! Here's the blood work code sheets. God damn it in effing hell! When you have finished your assignment in Jackson, you give us the results and then consider your work for us over. As for me, I've lost interest in you. You just consider yourself lucky that you're still walking out of here with your teeth still in your head. Now get out!
I'm sorry, Jay. He's through with you, isn't he?
I'm sorry, Jay. He's made a mountain out of a molehill. You should have been informed that the prisoner is a convicted killer as well as a certified mental case.
You did the right thing to let him know your opinion, though. It's a shame you had to put it on paper. They hate seeing records that remind them of their mischief. That's why they invented all of those terms like need to know or eyes only or plausible denial. It won't be the same without you guys.
All nations bring forth a few who are consumed by a lust for power and greed, and who force their role upon others. Such men may be remembered for their infamy, but it's the great ones who'll be remembered for the good they do for their people. My wife, tell me I'm your husband.
You are my beloved husband.
You know, I'm tempted to tell you the end of that science fiction story. You know, the one where Adam and Eve are running for their lives?
Tell me.
When we meet in Mexico, I'll tell you how it ends. But until then, here, I want you to have this. I want to see your face. And then I have to go. It's money, so you can reach me wherever I am. Dr. Ochsner should have given you money to help keep your cover safe. And besides, you might need new shoes. So keep your suitcase packed and under your bed, ready for when the time comes. We'll explore the mountains of Mexico, go to the Yucatan Peninsula, and then
I'll have to return to Florida with Robert at least for a little while.
And then I'll have to finish my work for the project.
And then we'll start our lives over as husband and wife.
Dr. Ochsner ordered me to break off contact with you, but I'm not about to give you up.
Any more than I would give you up.
And Dave figured out a way for us to be in contact without Ochsner knowing. He set us up with a safe phone line. You know, the kind the mafia uses for gambling? And he's developed this call wheel system, so we'll know when to call each other and what payphone to be near, because that's how it's done. But until then, let's not communicate. But if someone's listening in, be sure to call me Hector.
Okay, Hector. We'll have to be very careful.
We've acquired some very dangerous enemies.
I'm very angry.
I told Marina that I'm leaving, never to return.
And I'll leave Robert A. Baker III. He probably won't even realize I'm gone.
Here. I want you to have this. My Uncle Toots gave me this brown tie, and I want you to hold on to it so I can wear this during our marriage ceremony.
A lifetime of sorrow could lie ahead of us, but what difference? Together today we live forever, and I'll love you forever no matter what.
The prisoner has died in exactly 28 days as expected. His cancer was expedited and his immune system lowered by a heavy dose of X-ray radiation. The experiment was a success. Get ready to travel to Mexico City to deliver the bioweapon to your contact who will be meeting you there. Your contact will then deliver the weapon to his contact in Cuba. And in exactly 28 days, that goddamn communist Fidel Castro will be dead to the world.
Yes, sir.
Here, Mr. Oswald, as we practice. This thermos contains the deadly cancer cells. And this thermos contains a sterile medium for replenishing the liquid in the other thermos to keep the cancer cells alive. We also put a cracker and a banana in the bag to make this look like an actual lunch pack to pass border inspection. Come to think of it, we might deliver you a fresh batch when you reach Houston. Set forth, Mr. Oswald. You are working for the foes of communism. I am not ashamed to say that I would spill every drop of blood I have for my country, and I know you feel the same way. First, you will fly to Austin to drop off a package from Eli Lilly, as well as an envelope that you will receive.
Then we'll fly you to Dallas, where you'll meet my man, Sparky Rubenstein. You know, good old Jack Ruby. Ruby needs you to bring him some Laetrile, that crazy cancer drug that's illegal in the US, but legal in Mexico.
You will then meet Sylvia Odio. She is active in the anti-Castro community. Please determine if she has contracts in Mexico City. This is Lee Oswald. He will be delivering the bioweapon to Mexico City to take out Fidel Castro.
From there, you will fly to Houston. Your plane will land at Hull Field in Sugar Land on the west side of Houston.
Then just board the bus to Laredo. Don't spill the contents of that thermos. That shit's deadly.
Where are you in Austin? Where did I decide to begin? Where are you in Dallas? Where did I decide to begin? Where are you in Houston? Where did I decide to begin? Where are you in Florida? Where did I decide to begin? Where are you in Sugarland? Where did I decide to begin? Where are you in Mexico? Where did I decide to begin?
I've been so worried.
My contact didn't show up at the designated drop-off point. They abandoned me in Mexico City with a bioweapon. I don't even know what happened to my handler, Mr. B, Benson or Benton. Some anti-Castro Cubans call him Bishop. I don't trust anyone I'm working with anymore.
What happened to the bioweapon?
Well, I left the thermoses in a safe place in a souvenir shop in Mexico City, where my connection was supposed to meet me. And then when it didn't show, I went to the Mexico City CIA station, but they ordered me back to Dallas for debriefing.
Is that where you are now?
Yes. I've been betrayed. They think I'm a blind fool. If they didn't want me for Cuba anymore, well, I'm better off dead than alive to them. Oh, more bad news. Alec's work in his plane went missing.
Your friend, the pilot who was going to fly me to Mexico?
Yes. His plane was shot down over Cuba, and he's feared to have died. Alex was checking out a safe place to drop you off, and our split up was a sham. Now I'm certain I'm being set up by the people plotting to kill the president.
Who are these people?
Well, the trail leads to Austin. Clay Shaw had papers delivered to LBJ's lawyers, and that's why they had me go to the Cuban consulate, to make me look like a pro-Castro fanatic. My usefulness to them is over. My knowledge of names, faces, and events is dangerous to their cause.
Bad combination.
We'll need to change our escape plans.
Mexico is too obvious a place for us to hide in.
Exactly. We'll flee to the Cayman Islands, wait a year or so.
And then fulfill our dreams of exploring the lost Mayan cities?
But for now, I've been assigned to spy on a band of right-wing nuts interested in killing Kennedy. Oh, and I start my new job tomorrow. It's just another temporary cover job. The Colonel D. Howard Budde, a close friend of LBJ and his Texas oil baron cronies, has a new company in downtown Dallas handling school books in a big building across the street from the federal courthouse. And my boss, Mr. Truly, knows I'll be working undercover for the FBI, so I can come and go as I please. Don't give up on me. I've been told I'll be sent back to Mexico City before long. Things are working out, Judyth. Believe you me.
If you still believe in innocence. If you still believe in liberty. If you still believe the truth is relevant, let me tell you something, then I still believe in you, believe you me. If you still believe intelligence. If you still believe in sanctity. If you still believe integrity, let me tell you something, then I still believe in you, believe you me. There will be times like these, especially with the layers upon layers. I've been there, you've been there too. Tell it like you see it. If you still believe in difference. If you still believe entirely, if you still believe believability, let me tell you something that I still believe in you. Believe you me, then I still believe in you. Believe you me.
Happy belated birthday, Hector.
I won't live to see another birthday cake unless I can get out of here. And if I don't do it right, we're all going to get killed. I'm sorry you have to hear that.
I have to hear it.
Well, I've infiltrated the assassination group with their plans against J.F.K, and you know what that means.
What?
Well, now I'm the only one in a position to stop this from happening and penetrate this. Are you there?
I'm here.
I did the same thing for the FBI in Chicago 3 weeks ago. The information that I sent to Dr. Mary's contacts made Kennedy cancel his trip there. They were going to kill him in Chicago 3 weeks ago, you know.
Men will stop at nothing to gain more power.
Then they'll blame it all on Castro. It'll lead us to war with Cuba. And then when Russia moves in to defend her communist ally, it's World War III. You know, I'm not that good of a shot, so why do they recruit me? They'll set me up. They'll hang me out to dry just like they did in Mexico City. I'm going to be snuffed, just as I told you. I'm being treated like a dangle. I don't even know who I'm meeting with anymore. I have to let the Dallas FBI know everything. They are aware of the plan for November 22nd.
What's the plan?
They are going to kill Kennedy in one of 3 possible places. Love Field, the Trade Mart, or Dealey Plaza.
How much can you say?
Well, we're safe. But I have meetings tonight in 2 different places, and we're no longer alone. I've called in an abort team to help stop the assassination. Even though they're going to try and kill him, I've sent out information that might be able to save him. That's worth dying for, you know. But I'm required to obey orders from both sides. The group that's assembling in Dallas to shoot the president, and the abort team that will try and intervene.
This is so dangerous. Can you make an excuse and not show up where you're supposed to be?
I'm in way too deep at this point.
I want to come. I want to be there with you.
No, you have to wait for a call from Dave.
I want you to call me. I don't trust anyone. And from all you're saying, it's too late to help Kennedy any more than you already have.
Listen, even if I wanted to get out of this, which I do not, we couldn't. We've talked about this before, Judyth. They'd not only do me in, they'd come after my family, they'd find you. We'd all die. Time is so short now, I won't be able to call you unless I reach Laredo.
Lee, you didn't say until, you said unless.
I apologize. Is your suitcase still packed and ready and under your bed? We're gonna climb the mountains of Mexico and explore the Yucatan Peninsula. You get on a plane and meet me, and I'm sure you'll be okay, and I'll be there if I don't make it out, then you'll have to go on without me.
How? Who could ever replace you in my heart?
You love babies. Promise me that you'll have babies.
I don't want to have babies with anyone but you.
Oh, yes, you will. You take home baby birds and feed them, so I know you want to have your own babies. Promise me.
Promise. I'll never forget you as long as you live.
That might only be till tomorrow.
I meant to say as long as I live. How much can you say? Who are you up against?
Well, I'll be talking to them tonight, and then I'll go to bed and miss you.
Oh my God, Lee, we're standing at the flaming gates of hell.
Do you remember who my handler, when I was talking about my handler, who he was? Mr. B, Benton, Benson, or Bishop? Well, he's from Fort Worth, so it has to be Phillips. He's the traitor. Phillips is behind this. I need you to remember that name, David Atlee Phillips. And there's 2 other names I need you to remember too, Bobby Baker and Billy Celestes.
Are they part of the assassination too?
Well, it's not their doing, but it's because of them. They're both high-powered businessmen, insiders, closely tied to LBJ's scandals. And they won't be on the ticket next year due to their corruption.
Is there any way you can get out of this? Maybe something you haven't thought of?
They just get another gun to take my place. But if I stay, that'll be one less bullet aimed at Kennedy. But what bothers me most is maybe I could still do something. You know, but they're gonna say I did it. They're gonna pin it on me. And what do my daughters think when they grow up?
I hate the human race. It's the unmasked face of evil itself.
Stop that. Maybe I could still do something. Maybe I could fire a warning shot.
Do you really think that would work?
Well, the Secret Service will react. The chief might react. Even the driver.
Then the Secret Service will turn their guns on you.
I'll love you as long as my heart is still beating.
Humans should live as long as oak trees, like in that poem you read to me about the oak and the lily.
But lilies are beautiful too. And besides, as you said, I still have some tricks up my sleeve. Pray for me.
I will.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And deliver us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. It's an old cry to God. Perhaps he will hear it.
I love you, Lee.
Goodbye, J.F.K. I love you.
Here is a bulletin from CBS News. In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting. From Dallas, Texas, The Flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago. Vice President Lyndon Johnson has left the hospital in Dallas, but we do not know to where he has proceeded. Presumably, he will be taking the oath of office shortly and become the 36th President of the United States.
Dave.
Do you have my library card? Jackass Martin told the police that Hector has my library card.
From Tulane Medical School?
Yes, damn it! That card will lead the cops right to me and then straight to Dr. Oshner. The whole project will be exposed at tremendous danger to everybody. Would you have it? I even went to Hector's house. It wasn't there.
I have it.
I want you to burn it. Right now, while I'm on the telephone with you, dissolve it in sulfuric acid if you have to. Do you have sulfuric acid there? I want you to burn it right now.
The library card is destroyed.
Good. Okay. I'm much better now, Jay. Okay, I'll just tell the cops that I don't know anything about the card. I'm going to Dallas tonight. The good news is we talked to Marcello's people, and Hector is going to get some high-powered legal help. And we'll get Lee, Hector sprung.
Sprung?
He's not the only one who got arrested, you know. He's just getting all the publicity right now. We'll get him out, or somebody is going to pay big time.
Lee told me he was going to be set up by these people.
You have no idea how powerful the mob in Dallas is. Oh my God. I won't hide it from you, Jay. It's hopeless. If you want to stay alive, it's time to go into the catacombs. Promise me you'll keep your mouth shut. I don't want to lose you too. I promise if there's a chance that we can free him, we'll break him out of that jail, I swear on a stack of Bibles. So play the dumb broad and save yourself. You gotta be a vanilla girl. Your maiden name must never be in the newspapers. You gotta keep your head down and forget about being a science star forever. Remember, Trafficante, the Godfather, is gonna be watching everything you do. We're all in danger. Stay strong, sister.
I will, Dave.
I took a chance calling you, but Lee would have wanted me to. Bye, Jay.
I emphatically deny these charges. I request someone to come forward and represent me. Police officer hit me. I didn't shoot anybody. I'm just a patsy.
And when I had those deep full thoughts on life, I knew I was forgiven. And when I had those deep full thoughts on life, I knew I was forgiven. I knew I was forgiven. I knew I was.
Oswald!
Oh, I love
Judyth Baker, ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, I'm here to answer questions, and I'm grateful that you're all here. I love you. I love people, and I hope that I can get across to you that I never would have spoken out if I didn't have enough evidence, enough witnesses, and by the grace of God, that I'm still alive. Thank you. So, please.
How did Jason do with the play? Did he get the story right?
Jason's a genius. He mixed enough likeness. He mixed enough likeness into this so that you don't go away crying and feel miserable and all that kind of thing. Because there is hope. You know, Lee didn't die in vain if you didn't hear his story and if you just look at the facts. I want to tell you something right now. If you see or hear a reporter, National Geographic, or any of these haughty-taughty people, okay, and they're saying to you, Oswald killed Kennedy, don't believe another word. Write these people's names down. Write these new reporters' names down. You won't be able to trust them on anything else they say, I promise you. That's the litmus test. So we're talking about they had gone through how many generations of mice picking out the worst cancers, injecting into the next generation the worst cancers, always doing that. And in the end, they had, in just a few days, in a baby mouse, the cancer, when I saw it, was growing was the same size as a mouse in only 7 days. It's the most gross thing you could ever imagine. We have a cancer epidemic. We could have cured cancer in the 70s. I'm telling you right now, it is an industry. It's poison, burn, and, cut. And millions of people have died. It shouldn't have happened. I think I have more enemies in the cancer industry, cancer treatment industry, than I do anywhere else. For telling you right now, they'll go to hell, so help me, for not giving you guys cancer cures. Because we have many ways to cure cancer. Move to Colorado if you get it, okay?
You know what I mean? You met Jack Ruby, of course, right?
And definitely did.
And there's the whole thing where Ruby...
A remarkable man, I might say, and has not been... he was a true patriot. Dave told me this, David Ferry. He told me that the mafia said they would cut off every protruding part of his body if he didn't shoot Lee. He didn't want to. As a girl, I
think that is... Can we give Judyth Baker a nice round of applause, please? We'll end it on that. Thank you all very much. We love you, Judyth. Thank you so much. Please come talk to Judyth. We'll do a little book signing, personalized autograph. I got a couple of these myself. And thank you all very much for coming out to me and Lee, the musical. Yeah,